Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Morning, everybody. So today we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 29th chapter, text 1. So I'm going to share it with you. Shri Bhadayani Ruvacha Bhagavana Pita Ratihi Sharadot Pula Malikaha Vikshyarantum Manas Chakre Yogamaya Mupashritaha. Shri Bhadayani said, Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full in all opulences. Yet upon seeing those autumn nights, scenting with blossoming jasmine flowers, he turned his mind towards the loving affairs. To fulfill his purposes, he employed his internal potency. Purport. As we begin the famous narration of Lord Krishna's Rasa dance, a dance of love with beautiful young girls, questions will inevitably arise in the minds of ordinary people regarding the propriety of God's romantic dancing with many young girls in the middle of a full moon autumn night. In this description of the Lord's Rasa dance in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada painstakingly explains the spiritual purity of these transcendental activities. Those advanced in the science of Krishna, the great teachers or acharyas, leave no doubt that Lord Krishna is full and satisfied in himself, free of all material desire, which is, after all, a sense of incompleteness or lack. Materialistic persons and impersonal philosophers stubbornly reject the bona fide explanations of Sri Krishna's transcendental nature. There is no reason to deny the beautiful reality of an absolute person able to perform absolute romantic activities, of which our so-called romance is merely a shadow of or perverted reflection. The irrational insistence that material activities cannot be a reflection of the perfect spiritual activities performed by God reflects the unimaginative, emotional disposition of those who oppose the reality of Sri Krishna. The psychological disposition of the non-devotees, which leads them to fervently deny the very existence of the absolute person, unfortunately boils down to what may be succinctly described as envy, since the overwhelming majority of the impersonal critics eagerly pursue their own romantic affairs, which they consider quite real and even spiritual. The actual supreme lover is Lord Sri Krishna. The Vedanta Sutra begins by declaring that the absolute truth is the source of everything, and even Western philosophy was born in a somewhat awkward attempt at finding the original one behind the apparent many of material existence. Conjugal love, one of the most intense and demanding aspects of human existence, can hardly have nothing at all to do with supreme reality. In fact, the conjugal love experienced by human beings is a mere reflection of spiritual reality, in which the same love exists in an absolute pristine state. Thus, it is clearly stated here that when Krishna decided to enjoy the romantic atmosphere of autumn, he resorted to his spiritual potency, yoga mayam upashritaha. The spiritual nature of Lord Krishna's conjugal affairs is a major theme in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam. A woman is attractive because of the sweet sound of her voice, her beauty and gentleness, her enchanting fragrance and tenderness, and also because of her cleverness and skill in music and dance. The most attractive ladies of all are the young gopis of Vrindavan, who are Lord Krishna's internal potency. And this chapter tells how he enjoyed their brilliant feminine qualities, even though, as Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has mentioned, Lord Krishna was an 8-year-old boy when these events took place. Ordinary people prefer God simply to be a witness of their romantic affairs. When a boy desires a girl desires a boy. Sometimes they pray to God for their enjoyment. Such people are shocked and dismayed to find out that the Lord can enjoy his own loving affairs with his own transcendental senses. In truth, Sri Krishna is his original Cupid, and his exciting conjugal pastimes will be described in this section of the Bhagavatam. When Lord Krishna descends to earth, his spiritual body seems to take birth and grow as he displays his variegated pastimes. The Lord could hardly allow his boyhood to pass without exhibiting the supreme loving affairs between a young boy and young girls. Thus, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes Srila Rupa Goswami as follows: Kaishoram sapali karoti kalayan kunje viharam harihi. Lord Hari perfects his youth by arranging loving pastimes in the groves of the Vrindavan forest. Amagyanatimidandasya giranjara shakaya chakshurinvitamina tasmat Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jai. So before we begin, I'd like to request the blessings of all the assembled devotees, especially the topmost devotees and senior devotees here, that I may speak something which is in line with our Guru Parampara, which is purifying to our hearts, and that our hearts become fertile ground for the sublime message to take good root on. So let me stop sharing so that I can see all of you. So today we're hearing about, we're beginning to read about this amazing part of the Bhagavatam. Basically, everything that we've been covering so far throughout all of these years at the Bhakti Center, going from Canto 1 all the way up to here, is to prepare us to be able to understand these most difficult to understand pastimes of the Lord. We have to understand them in context, because if not, then we're going to just begin to think that this is just the loving affairs of a boy and some girls. And actually, we are going to try to put ourselves in that position and say like, oh, if I was the hero, right? Because that's what we do when we look at a movie. We go in and we say like, yeah, so let me try to see like if I let me see how I can relate to this character. And that is not the case here. Here we have to look specifically at how Krishna is, well, as it's stated here in the very beginning, that we have to understand how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, Sarvakarana Karanam. He is the supreme source of all sources. He is also Atmaram. He is self-satisfied. So he doesn't really need to go out with girls, because he is perfectly satisfied in himself. He is happy, and he doesn't require anybody else. We generally require a lot of things for us to be happy. He doesn't. He is perfectly satisfied in himself, and because of that, then we can understand that this is we're not dealing with in the same level as he is. Another thing to understand here is that a lot of people tend to not like the idea of God having romantic affairs, because they believe that for whatever reason that they can, as in here it was saying in the purport, that people will pray to God for their romantic affairs, but when they think about God being there for them in this mood, then they are shocked. They say like, God can't have this. God has to be just a witness of our own romantic affairs. But no, God actually has a very fulfilling life. And the special wonderful thing about Krishna is that he is inviting people. He's inviting people to come and be part of this. He wants to have people come and be part of it. Lord Ram, he was well. Let's start with different avatars. Different avatars have different roles, and we can have very, very different relationships with God. We can be in Shantaras, which is the mood of awe and reverence. That is basically the one that most people in the Western world know, and it's like God Almighty, Creator of heaven and earth. He is over there, and I'm way over here, and yeah, it's just like awe and reverence towards Him. But then there is servitude, in which we become the actual servants of God, doing specific menial tasks for Him. Then there is Saka, the friends, in which we can play with God. We can have nice adventures with God, and God is very adventurous. He likes to have the best adventures ever. Again, He has the most fulfilling life. And then we see that God also has the parental mood. He can either be the child, or he can be the parent. In either way, and especially here now with Krishna, He can be the lover. So different devotees can have this. When Lord Varaha came, right? What does he give? He gives the opportunity for people to be in awe and reverence of Him. You don't think of Lord Varaha in the Saka mood, oh yeah, Lord Varaha is my buddy, my friend, and let me go play with him. No, you pay your respects to Lord Varaha. You pay your respects to Lord Nrsingadev. Lord Nrsingadev also displays the one of parental mood towards Prahlad Maharaj. So there's a little bit more intimacy there, but he only does it towards Prahlad Maharaj. Not and his conjugal affair is only towards Lakshmi, right? Lord Ram, he has many parents, right? Well, not many, but at least he has three parents, so three mothers and one father. So he expands a little bit more, and he allows people to be His servants and that, but it's still limited. He only has as his wife Sita, and he will have nobody else. When there were sages coming up to him saying, "My dear Lord, we want to serve you, but we have this conjugal mood towards you." He said, in this lifetime, I am here with my wife Sita, and I will only have her as my wife. But in my next incarnation, I will become Lord Krishna. I will be coming as Lord Krishna, and you can display your loving mood towards me during that time. And because of that, then Lord Krishna is the most inclusive of all incarnations. He allows everyone to come and serve Him in whatever mood they want. And there is no cap, there is no limit, right? When we go to school, there's a cap. Oh, we only accept this many people. Like here, no. Krishna says, everyone, come. One of the interesting things here that we're seeing in the purport is that it's saying that the reason why a lot of people have problems with this is because they want to believe that only they can enjoy like this. There is envy, and this is the great difficulty for a lot of people. This, and in part we also have that envy, but it is more. Basically, the envy is, it is said, I believe it was Niranjan Maharaj that said in one class, that it is the last thing that goes. We have greed, we have lust, we have anger, we have illusion, we have pride, and envy. Envy is the last thing that will go from our hearts. when we have completely taken everything, he said. And that envy is, yeah, I can enjoy. Why should God enjoy and not me? Why should God have all of these beautiful ladies like that? And, I can only have one, if at all, right? So how is it that he is moral when he enjoys with a lot of ladies, but I can't be moral if I enjoy with a lot of ladies? So this is the envy that we feel towards him. And we have to get over that hump by understanding what is the situation really. How do we understand these loving affairs with him? Generally, we are so caught up in our own world, and we want to take everything out, that we become impersonalists. And this is something that I thought, like, oh well, Srila Prabhupada, he is very hard on those impersonalists, but those impersonalists only exist in India. And only when you're talking about religion. Yeah, that's okay. That's if I ever meet them, well, then I'll talk to them, about the way that Prabhupada talks to them. But I was shocked to see that actually it is not only those impersonalist Mayavadis in India that are there. It's actually widespread. I was just in Portugal, and we were doing some outer body experiences there with some non-devotee scientists. They were interested in doing these experiments with random event generators and finding out whether or not you could pick up these signals of non-correlation when people did outer body experiences. So we were training to do these kind of experiments as well. It was very cool. And people were having definitely like visions. And they were talking about, being one with the cosmos. And their idea of expanding their consciousness was full on Mayavadi. I was shocked. I was going like, really? Like this is. I was hearing Prabhupada talking about the Mayavadis there, like all the time. This lady was saying, yeah, like I followed this man and I fell into this whiteness, and I felt a sense of peace and love all around. I was like, oh my God. It was hard as a devotee. It was hard for me to just like be hearing this all the time. I wanted to say, I did talk to this lady afterwards, and I put out there the idea that, well, you have a very loving relationship with your husband. She loved her husband was there with her, and you could see they loved each other very much. And I said, for love to be there has to be two. Love cannot be in the vacuum. In the vacuum, we can only stay there for so long before we become bored. Our nature is to be active, right? Our nature is to love. And yes, it's nice when we stop suffering and we feel peace. So that's coming to the neutral position. But we desire more than just peace. We desire happiness, bliss, which comes from relationships. And relationships require more than one person. And that you can't have in the void. So God, he has this personal aspect that allows us to connect with him in the most amazing way. We are hankering for this perfect love. We're hankering for the happily ever after, right? Well, where does that desire come from? That desire comes from our innate nature, from our innate knowledge of God and our relationship with Him. That perfect love only God can provide. And we're looking for it in all the wrong ways, in all the wrong places. So Srila Prabhupada has given us this amazing path by which we can come back to Him. And if we want to truly understand the loving affairs of Krishna and the gopis, the best way to do it is to see it through Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because the pastimes of Krishna and the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are non-different from each other. And when we look at the ones of Krishna, sometimes we may become bewildered. But when we look at them from the point of view of Lord Chaitanya, then we can understand much better what it is. This idea of enjoying in the rasa dance is actually portrayed in the Sankirtan pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. When he performs kirtan, then we can understand what it is that is happening in the rasa dance. Golokarera Premadana Harinam Sankirtana. This Harinam Sankirtan is coming directly from the spiritual world, from Goloka Vrindavan, and it awards prema. Right? And if we want to be able to perform kirtan properly, what did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say that we have to do? We have to be more humble than a blade of grass. We have to be more tolerant than a tree. We have to be devoid of all sense of false prestige and give all respects to others. Then we can chant the names of the Lord. Then we can be in the kirtan of the Lord. So this is what's happening in the rasa dance. These girls, they are devotees of the Lord. They're devotees in the conjugal mood, and they're not coming there, just to enjoy with the poet. They are there to serve. They've come there to serve in that mood, in that humble, tolerant, totally prideless mood. They've come to Him in that. Again, the Lord is Atmaram. He is self-satisfied. He doesn't need anything. But He sees these devotees that want to offer their love to Him. So to reciprocate with them, He performs this rasa dance, the most amazing dance. And in the Sankirtan of Lord Chaitanya, we see how all of the devotees, they're rooting for each other. So many times, we see that, for example, in the case of Mukunda, everybody was getting at some point benedictions from Lord from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during the Prakash Leela. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu generally did not like to display the mood of being God. He was always like, no, I'm just a devotee of God. Don't tell me that I'm God and like that. But this one time, he said, okay, fine. I see all of you are super eager to reciprocate with me like that. Then I'll take on this mood. And he started giving benedictions to everyone, and it was so beautiful. But the devotees noticed that there was one person that was left out, and that was Mukunda. And then they asked, like, my Lord, I think you forgot Mukunda. And he said, that rascal? Don't talk to me about that rascal. Don't even mention his name. Get him away from me. He comes with us, and he is very he talks to us, and he's very devotional and all. But then he also goes to the Mayavadis and listens from them. I don't want to see him ever again. Tell him to leave, and before I destroy this world. And everyone was like so afraid of Lord Chaitanya at that moment. He was angry, and Mukunda was just crying. He was just crying, and he was leaving, and he said, like, tell him that I will not see him in 10 million lifetimes. And suddenly, when Mukunda heard that, he was overjoyed. Said, 10 million lifetimes, 10 million lifetimes, only 10 million lifetimes, and I'll be back. And he was so happy. He was so happy to be hearing this. And we could and the Lord, seeing his humbleness, seeing how he was willing to wait however long it took to receive his mercy. And he didn't complain. He didn't say, like, hey, but blah blah blah. No, he just took it. He took the bullet. He accepted what the Lord was saying. In that mood, then the Lord accepted him. Tell him to come. Just come now. Just come now. That's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we can also see how, this mood is what is happening at the rasa dance. This is the mood of everyone. Also, we can note that all the devotees, they had their own wishes fulfilled. And when they heard that from, they could have just said, like, well, Mukunda, it's up to you, like you messed up, whatever. But no, they were really rooting for him. They were feeling this devotee's pain. This mood of caring for others is also something that is happening there at the rasa dance, as we will hear later on when the gopis saw that Radharani had been left by Krishna at some point during the rasa dance. They came to her, and instead of being envious of her, they were very affectionate towards her and very empathetic towards her. So these devotees have very soft hearts, and this is the mood that the devotees have to be in to be able to be accepted into the Sankirtan and into the rasa dance. So the rasa dance, we should see it as not in the mood of what is Krishna, how is Krishna enjoying there, and why am I not enjoying like him? But rather, what can we learn from the gopis' mood towards Krishna? Because we should not be posing ourselves as Krishna. We should not be looking at, if I was Krishna in this like that. We should be going like, well, if let me learn from these gopis, how they're interacting with Krishna. What are their characteristics? What are their what are their moods? How do they love Krishna? And then we will actually get the benefit of the rasa dance. So it is 6:51. I'm going to stop here just to see if there are any questions, comments, or nice jokes. Yes, Andrea.
Hare Krishna, dear Murli Gopal. I almost called you Mauricio because you still have your
sorry.
beard.
Yes, I
Don't worry, it's okay. I was wondering, with the kind of anecdote that you shared about you being with people who were kind of, I would assume that they were experiencing kind of like the Brahma Jyoti in a way, with them feeling like they were connecting to the consciousness. And then when you I guess we're trying to enlighten them to the fuller truth, because that is a partial truth. The Brahmajyoti is a truth in terms of being an aspect of Krishna. While you were trying to explain to them that to really have a relationship with God, that there's like that personal aspect. I was wondering, like, what was their reaction? How did they take that in? Just wondering like how it went from there. Thank you so much.
Well, thankfully, Lord Chaitanya came to the rescue, because as I was talking to her, she said, do you know the name Gauranga? And I was like what? Like, how do you know that name? And she said, oh, I'm from Spain, and I once went to Madrid, and we were doing this, like Tai Chi or something like that. And then we went to, we couldn't find a restaurant, so we had to walk a little bit further than we usually did. And we found this restaurant called Gauranga. And the food there was just amazing. They had like these different plates, with different colors, and I haven't been there since then, but I'm always thinking about, oh, I have to go back there, like that. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he ropes everyone in, like everyone, in the most amazing way. So I was just like so happy, and then I started talking to her about Lord Gauranga, the most magnificent incarnation of Lord Krishna. And so I was just blown away by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, really extending to everyone. So she was able to understand this idea of love, needing one more person. And I don't know, how much, how long that lucidity may have lasted, but at least she has the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And
so you planted a seed.
yes,
that was already, maybe like the fertilizer had been set forth with the Gauranga restaurant.
yes, exactly.
It is there. That's good.
Yeah. So that was amazing. And yeah, we, all glories to the devotees, who are doing all of these, outreach programs in so many different ways to rope people in to Krishna consciousness in one way or another. Yeah. Let me see that.
Has he unmuted himself, so I don't know if he wanted to share.
Oh, okay. Adipush Brew, you wanted to say something?
Oh, well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, that interesting comment early in the class about Mother Rukmini explaining that, it may not please Krishna when we use that term karmi. And it occurs to me that what she's really indicating is when we think ourselves better than someone else, if there's arrogance, if there's pride, whereas like a real devotee is thinking that everybody else is pleasing Krishna more than me. Even Radharani's thinking like that, right? So the term is one thing, but the attitude is also very important. And there is such a thing as the choice we might make to be attached to the fruits of our labor, and without judging somebody else about whether or not they're doing that. It wouldn't be inappropriate for us to say that, oh, I read in Scripture that it says that we are entitled to perform our activities, but it's not that we are happy by being attached to the fruits of our labor. We can perform our prescribed duty for the pleasure of the Lord and do it with love and not some selfish motivation. So to tiptoeing around the subject matter of just arrogantly and condescendingly saying, they're karmis, that is, she's right, that's not, it doesn't please Krishna. and it's actually kind of ugly and not beneficial for ourselves to have that attitude. But it's not that we should just negate the idea of saying that being attached to the fruits of our labor is not the best choice. Was that clear? Did it make sense? Murli, Gopal, Prabhu?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just the term karmi, but the attitude of thinking I'm better. But we don't want to just, Prabhupada says, yatamata tatapata. Everything's everybody, everybody's everybody, nothing's nobody, and there's no higher, no lower, but we do have a spectrum of choices and a quality of pleasing Krishna more or less. And it's not wrong for us to explain that. And then if the shoe fits, wear it. Anyway, I'm not sure if that's a helpful comment, but it just occurred to me when Mataji spoke about that this morning. There's some validity there, but then just expanding on the what might be inappropriate or not the best choice. Okay, we'll go to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
See, Mother Rukmini said one sentence, and we have a whole discussion about that.
Yeah.
So she's Rukmuni. Muni is the sage. They can speak very, very concisely, yet very profound.
I think if we're going to be a karmi, then we should be a super karmi. That's what I think.
Super karmi. Yeah. Those people are referred to in Shastra as, or in Prabhupada's purports, as the innocent. He would say the innocent, we should reach out to them. Then there are also demoniac people who are actively averse. So those should be either defeated or avoided, or fed prasadam, or thrown prasadam at. Jeffrey Eckler, where are you on the spectrum of pleasing Krishna?
Trying my darndest.
Okay.
Actually, the term karmi is very elevated, because the karmis are actually the people who follow the Vedic rules, and they follow them very, very precisely. And there are so many rules. So to be actually a real karmi is something very elevated, something that is very difficult for that. Thank God for Srila Prabhupada. We don't have to be. Otherwise, nobody in this day and age could do it.
I remember Jai Jagannath once said that if we were to see an actual karma yogi from the Vedic times, we would think that this is a pure devotee compared to us, to our cleanliness standard and to our overall level of advancement. But Srila Prabhupada says that the real karma yoga is acting for Krishna. Real karma yoga is bhakti yoga. We're doing things for Krishna.
That's right. The first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita explain karma yoga and how to connect, our actions in Krishna consciousness. Yeah,
the chapter is called Karma Yoga, but Prabhupada just drives the point home every single time. The real thing is to work for Krishna.
Mm-hmm. And we also have a question here. Could this verse also be an example of self-love? Yes, if we understand it in context. So it's self-love when we understand the real self. What is the real self? The real self is the soul. And what is the most beneficial?
Okay, let's take darshan and then we'll keep going. Do you have time for a quick afterglow? Okay. Okay. Adipusha Prabhu goes into ecstasy every time the darshan ends. He just starts shaking. So we're going to enter the afterglow. Murli Gopal Prabhu, you were describing so wonderfully. Would you like to go on?
Sure. So what we see is that we have to understand what is the self, and then we can say like, yeah, like this is the true self is the soul. And what is the nature of the soul? The nature of the soul is being a servant of Krishna. So if we really want the best self-love, then it's in connection with Krishna. That's where we find our truest fulfillment. Generally, in this world, we are we're so bogged down by so many things. Where many people have issues with image of who am I and what am I supposed to do, and therefore there's a lot of self-criticism, and then there's this idea that I'm not good enough. So a lot of people have to remind themselves, like, yeah, like do self-love, just like take care of yourself, pamper yourself, try to take yourself out, and do things that you like. So try to take care of yourself, because we have a wrong idea of who we are. But when we understand really who we are as a servant of Krishna, then all of this goes away. We understand that relationship with him, and we understand how we best serve the Lord. And because of that, then we don't have to ever talk about self-love in like something extra to us, something that we should focus in as apart from anything else. No, it's all included. When we think about Krishna, about serving Krishna like that, it immediately incorporates self-love. That's what the gopis are doing here. They're serving Krishna. They know that their role as servants in a specific mood, and this is how they can best serve him. And they're not thinking like, oh, I'm never good enough. No, they're constantly encouraging each other to do better. There are even like competitions of who can serve Krishna better, and in that service they are enlivened. They have bliss, and they're reciprocated with by the Lord. It's a perfect system, something that we don't have here. So if we can get to that stage where we can truly know ourselves as servants of Krishna, then self-love is included in it automatically.
Thank you, Murli Gopal Prabhu. I liked how you described that you're never not good enough to do devotional service. There's no question of not being worthy of keeping going with our service, no matter how deep down we may fall here and there. There's no question of not being worthy of service. So I found that very, very inspiring and reassuring. Murli Gopal Prabhu, I'm so glad I'm good enough to serve. Adi, you're good enough to serve Krishna. Dana Marie, what is that deflated star? Is that our attempts to enjoy in the material world? Yes? Dana Marie, we love you.
Hmm.
A balloon. Thank you, Dana Marie. Okay, it was nice seeing everybody. Murli Gopal Prabhu, always nice class. Always, I'm so hopeful after your class every time. You're just such a wonderful devotee. Adipusha Prabhu, thank you. Venetia, Tina, Yogeshwari, Preeti, Chaturvedi, Suzanne, Pink Yogi, Amrita Kishori, everybody listening online, thank you so much. Yeah, there's Tina's family, Japa Bag. What's your daughter's name? I forget.
Her name is Zari Narayani.
Zari Narayani, Hare Krishna. Can I be your friend? Can I play with you? Okay, good. All right. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama.
Hare
You
Krishna.